So I'm about the brand new Armani Stronger with You Powerfully, and I'm gonna try it out for the first time. However, before I do that, I truly hope that it's going to impress me more than Stronger with You Parfum did. Because, and you know this if you're a subscriber, Stronger with You Parfum, while I do think it smells good, I also felt it was a bit of a lazy release. And I truly hope Armani Stronger with You Powerfully is going to be a good one. And up in the air right away, this definitely has that sort of a classic Armani Stronger with You DNA, but there's definitely a bit of a twist to it in Powerfully. At least up in the air, Armani Stronger with You Powerfully, to my nose and based on my very first impressions, opens up with a really nice dose of fruitiness. The fruitiness in Stronger with You Powerfully is that of cherry, and to me, right away in the opening, it's definitely fruity with a bit of sweetness. There's a slight hint of something else to it that is sort of a brightening things up a bit. Now, if you're a subscriber, then you know that I absolutely love the scent of cherry. I believe the last one that I bought with cherry in it was Nang Ram from Journal. But I really feel I gotta spray this thing on skin as well. Okay, definitely a bit the same on skin, but also a bit different. On skin, that Stronger with You DNA comes across a lot more easily noticeable, and I do feel on skin that the opening is mostly about a sweet dose of cherry together with a dose of lavender. Yeah, I mean, already in the opening, it feels like there's a bit of that classic Armani Stronger with You vanilla. So like fruity and sweet with cherry, you get that Armani Stronger with You lavender together with that Stronger with You vanilla. And right away, here's what I can tell you. If I compare how I felt about Stronger with You Parfum already in the opening, I feel this one is a bit more interesting. So before we move on to the heart of it, let's quickly talk about the price. I paid a bit above 100 bucks, but that was with a voucher for 50 ml of Powerfully. And I can't actually remember how much I paid for Armani Stronger with You Parfum, but I believe this one was sort of a similarly priced like the new one. And I mean, the more it moves away from the opening and into the heart of it, the more I feel its aromatic side, the lavender, starts to grow in intensity. The cherry with its sweetness is still there, but I do feel that its fruity sweetness is a bit more balanced up thanks to a bit of aromatic freshness and brightness from lavender. So if you ever put your nose to Armani Stronger with You Intensely, Armani Stronger with You Parfum, or the OG, then you most likely recognize that lavender, the aromatic side of it in Powerfully, even though I do feel there's a slight twist to it here. Pretty much most of the time, I do feel Armani is giving us the same kind of lavender. However, the intensity of that lavender and how it's blended with other ingredients is why it smells a bit different from release to release. And again, if you're a subscriber, then you know that I absolutely love the scent of lavender. And to my nose, one of the reasons why this line smells overall so good is because of the way they blend lavender together with, most of the time, more warmer, richer and deeper ingredients, and also quite often more sweet ingredients. The dry down is actually definitely, at least to my nose, and at least based on my very initial first few sprays and first impressions of it, more interesting than Armani Stronger with You Parfum, because it's more sweet, but the sweetness has sort of evolved from the opening and the mids. So whereas in the opening this was mostly a fruity kind of sweetness, in the dry down this is basically a mix of fruity sweetness together with something that to me is a mix of sweet vanilla and something that on my skin almost comes across as sort of a sugary. So one way to sort of describe Armani Stronger with You Powerfully is that this is a mix of fruity sweetness thanks to cherry. You get that classic Armani Stronger with You lavender, and when the whole thing dries down, it basically becomes a mix of that cherry and lavender together with a bit of what I think is that classic Armani Stronger with You vanilla. So you get a bit of sweet vanilla, but I do feel there's a bit of a difference if you compare the vanilla in Powerfully to some of the other ones. And the main difference, at least to my nose, is that there's a sort of a sugary feel to Powerfully. To me, in a way, Strong With You Powerfully is almost like they took a bit of Strong With You Parfum and probably Armani Stronger With You Intensely with a bit of its sweetness. But the biggest twist is without a single doubt the cherry. So this is the fruity sweet version of Armani Stronger With You, basically. So here are my initial thoughts on the vibe of Armani Stronger With You Powerfully. Whereas I do feel the latest Armani Stronger With You Parfum went in a more mature, elegant and classy direction. This is definitely, in a way, returning to the more playful, sexy and flirty take on that Armani Stronger With You DNA. Fruity sweetness, especially that of cherry, pretty much always adds a sexy and flirty and playful vibe to a scent. So I do need to get back to you on the performance of Strong With You Powerfully later on, because I do feel I need to wear it more, but based on how it oozes from my skin and how it stays, sort of lingers in the air around me, I do think it's pretty much on the same level as some of the other ones. However, it might be a bit less strong if you compare it to Stronger With You Parfum. But again, I could be wrong. I really do need to wear it more. So let's talk a bit about the usage, so like seasons and occasions. I do feel this goes into something that, at least to my nose, is a bit warmer, definitely a bit sweeter. It definitely has a bit of fruity sweetness to it as well, together with that sort of a sugary kind of sweetness. And it does have a bit of warmth to it as well. So this definitely, at least to my nose, leans more into spring, summer nights, fall and winter. Armani Strong With You Powerfully will most likely not be the first scent that I will be thinking of reaching for on a warm summer day. But like always, wear whatever you want whenever it makes you happy. When it comes to occasions, I do feel you can wear Strong With You Powerfully both to casual and formal occasions, and I definitely feel you can wear this both to school, work. But with that said, the sexy and flirty vibe of it is definitely something I feel makes it lean more towards date nights and when you're going out. This to me is definitely a great choice for date nights. So who is Armani Stronger With You Powerfully for? I do think, without a single doubt, that the sort of a baseline here is that you should know that you enjoy a bit of fruity sweetness, especially that of cherry. If you do not like that stuff, then definitely make sure you stay away. If you know that you enjoy that Armani Stronger With You Vanilla together with that Armani Stronger With You Lavender, and think you would enjoy that combo together with the fruitiness and sweetness from cherry, and in a blend I actually feel is a bit more on the sweet side with sugary kind of feel to it, then you might enjoy Powerfully. So what are some of the alternatives to Armani Strong With You Powerfully if we are going to focus on the scent of cherry, which I think we should? So like I said, I wish I had more fragrances with the scent of cherry in them, but I gotta mention Guerlain L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum, which is basically the fruity sweet version of that fantastic almond that you get from the line. And sort of a simplified L'Homme Idéal Eau de Parfum is a mix of Guerlain's signature almond together with a bit of vanilla and a bit of fruity sweetness from cherry. This is absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna link to my L'Homme Idéal comparison somewhere up here and in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Another wicked scent I bought late last year is Journal's Nang Ram. So this, to my nose, is basically a mix of cherry. So to my nose, it's a bit fruity and a bit sweet. You have a gorgeous dose of vanilla to it, and it's also woody with what is, to me, quite a mass appealing dose of oud. Nang Ram might be hard to find, but I'm so happy about it. So another scent I absolutely love, but I'm not sure you can find it nowadays, but I gotta mention it, is Rabanne Major Me. And actually, Major Me and Nang Ram has a bit of similarities. Both are fruity sweet with cherry and quite a prominent dose of woodiness. However, Major Me doesn't have the same kind of vanilla that Nang Ram has. You also have Narcotic Delight from Initio, which I think is a banger. I'm probably missing out on something, so let me know in the comments which is your absolute favorite cherry focus scent. As for alternatives in the Armani Strong With You line, I'm going to link to my Armani Stronger With You ranked somewhere up here and in the description below, so make sure you check that video out. So when it comes to the bottle design, as you can see, they are pretty much the same. However, I gotta say, even though bottles are not the most important thing to me, I gotta say that I really like the color of the juice. So what are my final thoughts based on my first impressions of Armani Stronger With You Powerfully? I do, and this is probably going to be something a lot of people will disagree with me on. I'm definitely more happy about Stronger With You Powerfully than I was when I bought Stronger With You Parfum. What I'm getting in Armani Stronger With You Powerfully is basically a mix of that core Armani Stronger With You DNA in a more fruity, sweet and ambery blend with a focus on cherry. And I do love the scent of cherry, but if you do not enjoy that, you're obviously not going to enjoy this. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm a bit curious on why it took Armani so long to take that classic Armani Stronger With You DNA in a more fruity direction. I could be wrong, but I don't think we had something quite fruity and quite fruity sweet like this before. I mean, Fizz is definitely a fruity scent. However, this goes in a more fruity and fresh direction. But these two are so different, and I actually feel Powerfully in a way, while still being quite familiar with that core Armani Strong With Your DNA, takes that DNA in, if you compare it to the other ones in the line, in a slightly new direction. So yeah, this is a strong like from me. Now, I would absolutely love to know how you feel about Armani Strong With You Powerfully. Do you think it's a fantastic one? Is it a like? Is it a dislike? Or is it just me? Let me know in the comments. Please drop a like and subscribe for more, and make sure you check out my Armani Strong With You comparison over there.